Good morning, my name is Christelle from Frans, the Klerk Independent Technical Analyst. The first one on our list is Glencore, and we can see that the share is caught within a symmetrical triangle. And take note how close the red line, the 40-week moving average, is to the upper band of the symmetrical triangle, and this highlights the importance of that resistance at the moment. Should we want the momentum to the top to continue, that strong resistance waiting at 106 Rand 83 has to first change into a support. Once it changes into a support, the symmetrical triangle can spark a continuation pattern, which means the upside that we've seen in Glencore here previously has been paused within the flag formation, and once that upper band changes into a support, that same leg to the upside that we've seen from the downside can extend here. However, that means one, there needs to be buying interest, and two, that 40-week moving average and upper band needs to change into a support that is waiting at 106 Rand 83. Now, the Williams percentage R indicator is almost in overbought territory. In fact, it lost steam before it can completely become or can enter into that minus 20 level, which tells us that there were keen sellers to take this share to lower levels sooner rather than later. My lower band, if I project it, is waiting there at 101 Rand 80. Once that level starts to change into a resistance, we can assume that this symmetrical triangle will confirm the pessimism and we can see more downside. So technically, should you want to trade Glencore at the moment with this almost overbought situation, a short is the preferable side for the share at the moment. And the other thing we can also highlight is there is a possible tweezer top formation or a double top formation because they're so close to one. It's a place where two consecutive resistances were found very close to one another. Now that double top formation will be confirmed once that support waiting at 105 Rand 10 starts to change into a resistance. And that is a double top, a tweezer top, or triple top formation is a warning formation telling you that the top of this small rally might be in place and that we can first see some downside. So below 105.10, that is where your first sign of weakness will be visible. But above the high of that second loop, 108 Rand and 12 cents on a line graph, we can assume then again that the momentum to the top can continue. At the moment, the other thing that obviously within a symmetrical triangle, there's also lower highs that are visible. That tells us that every time the share bounced, there was stronger sellers that managed to push the share to lower levels before it could reach the previous high. And these lower highs are also seen as negative and confirms the loss of momentum. Second on our list is South 32, ticker S32. What is interesting here on the Williams percentage R indicator, before the line could reach our minus 50 level, it found resistance and looked like it wants to turn around. Now, the minus 50 level on the Williams percentage R indicator is a line in the sand telling and highlights that once that level changes into a support coming from oversold levels, we can assume that the momentum to the top can escalate. Once that level starts to change into a resistance coming from overbought levels, we assume that the momentum to the bottom can escalate. So before any escalation could take place here on the Williams percentage R on South 32, the share lost momentum and that minus 50 remained a resistance, and that is seen as negative. So South 32, first needs to change that first resistance. I'm going to highlight that for you, into a support, and that is waiting there at 41 Rand 62. As soon as 41 Rand 62 starts to change into a support again, we can assume that the optimism will be confirmed and that we will hopefully start to see higher lows and that buyers will protect the momentum. As long as that 41.62 remains a resistance, we can assume that the momentum to the bottom is in place. My strong support on South 32 is obviously waiting at 39 Rand 91. If the sellers become stronger to change that level even into a resistance, we can see even lower levels on South 32. Now we can see, and I'm going to use a horizontal line here, that this support waiting at 39.91 is a very strong one, right? That was the very same support it found in the week of the 11th of July 2022, where the share bounced, and that's when we started to see higher lows on South 32, which was positive. And the same year back in November 2021, there was a little bit of a false break and a whipsaw, but a very critical support level there around 39 Rand that it supported. And I mean, that was just the floor to take the share to a brand new record high there at 58.52. So keep an eye on that level. It's a critical level that has to remain in place, 39 Rand 91 on a weekly graph. That means by a Friday close. So if the share price continues to close above 39 Rand 91 by a Friday, you know that the floor, the support, and the base for South 32 is still in place. Exxaro, also one of the shares that really saw some profit taking. Very important here. Our overbought Williams percentage R territory was confirmed, and the pullback is visible. More importantly, a ugly negative technical goodbye case on my 40-week moving average. That is seen as very negative. It tells me there was not enough long-term interest and buyers to protect 181 Rand 22 and change and keep that level of support. So a negative technical goodbye case on a 40-week moving average is seen as very negative, which tells me now that the long-term sentiment towards Exxaro will remain negative. Now, my next strong support is waiting there at 162.42. Will be interesting to see what buyers and investors does when the share price gets there. Will they protect it, or will they take it, the sellers take it all the way back to that support of 146.41? That is the critical level that has to remain. And very similar to our previous example on South 32, we can see these are levels that were supported again here at the end of 2021. And again, a very technical goodbye is there on the horizontal line. They found support and bounced it, and that was the start for the new records, recent highs for Exxaro at the moment. So that critical level at around 146 Rand 41 needs to remain in place on Exxaro. Otherwise, we can possibly sit here with an ugly, massive head and shoulder formation that can take this share a lot lower. This is also acting as a neckline then, right? So below that level, things can get a lot uglier for Exxaro. Obviously, first sign of strength will be above 181 Rand 22 again, but my Williams percentage R indicator is too overbought for me now at this stage to consider any buy opportunity. Anglo American, ticker AGL. Very interesting. You'll look here how it's fighting that minus 50 level on the Williams percentage R. It tells you that there's just not enough buyers to change that level into a support to give us the confirmation we need that the momentum to the top now can escalate. Twice now, it tested the minus 50 level, kept it a resistance, and that is seen as very, very negative. And obviously on the price action graph, we can see that they are confirming lower highs, and that is seen as negative. So at the moment, my strong support that has now changed into a resistance is waiting at 516 Rand 34. And that is the level that needs to change into a support again in order for me to believe that the share price can make a turnaround for higher levels. Now that critical level of support is waiting at 474 Rand 89. That was the level that was found in support that was found in August 2023. The share bounced, pulled back a little bit, found higher support at 483.40, bounced massively back to 543 Rand, pulled back. So those higher lows was confirmation that, listen, there's definitely investors that are buying the dips at the moment that we can see upside. But at the moment, that whole story was, the optimism was wiped out. We're starting to see lower highs, and now the negativity will be confirmed once 483.40. The negativity, excuse me, will be confirmed once 483 Rand 40 and that level of 474.89 starts to change into resistances again, because then the momentum to the bottom can just continue to escalate. Don't forget to send through your requests for next week's show. Have a fantastic week. Take care.